Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back, guys, and thanks for tuning in. I do appreciate your support. Today, we're going to talk about something that I throw out as kind of a caveat a lot of times. We discuss a lot on this channel about winning your flank and going back or going to another flank, unless it's very obvious that you're winning the battle and then you keep pushing. That one's pretty easy to see in general. It's harder to see what flank you need to go to, and I think it's even more difficult to see if you need to apply cap pressure. I find cap pressure in this game to be largely overestimated. I think there's two kinds in general. The one is getting on the cap and attempting to cap it out, and then forcing maybe some last holdouts to show themselves in order to try to win. Either you're going to win by capping because they don't come at you, or they come at you, you see them and you kill them off. The second kind is you're attempting to relieve some pressure somewhere else on the map by putting cap pressure on and forcing the enemy to make a decision, thereby helping the other flank potentially and maybe killing them one by one as they come at you. The problem with cap pressure is, number one, the automatic consequence of getting on the cap is somebody knows where you are. So in an otherwise unknown situation, if you're not lit, you've now showed them that at least one tank is on cap, and that may tell them quite a bit. If they see two or three, that may tell them a whole bunch, especially if you're mid to late game when there aren't that many tanks out there. So you're giving away some intel to the enemy, and I find it to be overestimated how good that is as far as applying cap pressure. However, it does have its place in the game, and knowing when to do it correctly is important. We're going to look at it right here in terms of also not going back in a relatively close game and what were the decisions I made to continue on to the cap. So let's get started here with the old Staghound. That's what I'm running, a tier 6 battle. Break, tier 6 battle, all right? It does change as you get to the higher tiers on some of these things, so you can get away with some things at lower tiers you might not get away with at the higher tiers, all right? Just understand that right off the bat. For the Staghound, I'm running the turbo just to get a little more speed out of it. It is disappointing at how relatively slow these things are. I think it's more disappointing at how poorly they turn. Their whole traverse is awful. I'm running optics to help out with my spotting. You can see it just about gets to maximum there, and I've got vents to help out with that as well. It's an all tier 6 battle, which is very helpful. Couple artillery, some scouts involved. Ect. Staghound. Let's just take a quick look. Where does it live in terms of stats? I quite like it, to be quite honest. Or maybe it's better to say I don't hate it. I'm doing well with it so far with the relatively low sample size of 30 or 40 battles. Its stats, however, live down here. It's in the bottom third of the tier 6 mediums, right here. So it's, not 40 TP, which surprises me a bit because I kind of like that one as well. Neither is it Cheeto, but it's down in the bottom third. So certainly bottom half, and it probably fluctuates a little bit as we go. It's certainly not overpowered, and that's, I guess, a nice thing. What does it have going for it? Anyway, let's get going. One, and we're off. Battle starts. Battle starts. All right, off we go. Now, I don't go into the land of the derp. You can see that we've got 3, they have 2, and an ARL. I do often take my mediums over and help the heavies, but in this case I figured probably not the best place for a very thinly armored medium tank. I will follow with the Cromwell and the Hellcat. I kind of like this push. Got a nice amount of mediums and whatnot. So the plan here is obviously go to this north flank, the northeast flank, look around, fight whatever might be there as best we can. If there's nothing there, continue to make decisions on whether we push. If there's nothing there, maybe shoot across to the middle. As you can see, the Hellcat, the other Crom, and Crusader. I've got the Bravo version here with me. So lots of options. Now, I come up over in the top, and the Cromwell B isn't seeing anybody. Be careful with that. Remember, this game's a lot about time. We're only 50 seconds into this. It may be that there's some slower heavies coming up that hill, and they just haven't showed up. But as I see him push, and we don't have any fast movers here yet anyway, I'm actually going to sneak around this brick wall right here and get into the middle, which is going to give me shots across to the middle like the Super Chaffee and support the Cromwell if he starts to get pushed, because I'm pretty happy with how many guys we got coming up behind here to back us up. And as he continues to go around the corner and prove nobody is coming up this ramp, well, I'm super excited now. I like this. This is going to give me some options to shoot guys. And unfortunately, I don't do very well with it. We miss. We're getting some buildings knocked down. That poor scout. Oh, it just barely misses that time. I think this might hit. Unknown. He went dark. Scooch up right here. Okay, quick check right here at camera work, what I call that. Gathering SA. I just want to look and see if the Cromwell has lit anybody. You can look at the mini map, but I like to do both. I'll look at the mini map over here for the purple markers, and I'll also just do this because that just gives me a better idea in time space exactly where that guy is, as opposed to just looking at the mini map. And I'm starting to get the sense that they just don't have anything over here. I'd really like to get rid of this Super Chaffee. I also don't want to get lit, so I'm not going to get too crazy. So you can see that we have found a JPZ-4, which unfortunately for him pushed up with almost zero support, and my guys are starting to push. So we're bringing now into our SA bag. We have grabbed a lot of real estate. Howsomever, there's a lot of tanks left. In fact, there's all the tanks left. So let's not get too excited. It's not time to rush onto cap right now. Let's continue to see if we can't draw some guys out and get some kills on these guys. I finally get a shot on him. And he dies. All right, very good. Oh, look at this. So these guys took the hill. They took the top, the two purples there. And they're thinking, all right, we own the top. We can peek around into the middle and get shots on guys in the middle. Well, guess what? If you were the purples, would you be doing that? Knowing that there is nobody up here in the middle, and your JPZ-4 has seen two guys that are coming down the ramp. Oh my gosh, that is an extremely dangerous move right there, and a great example of what you should not do when you take a peek at the minimap and understand the crossfire situations of this map. Really bad idea by these two, because they're just going to get absolutely schwammered. This is just beautiful. Everyone's loving this. I crit his track, but don't knock it. Ah, good. Right into the gun. Right into the gun. A little shot onto him. Good. We got one there. And we back them out. We also have to be watching the other flank. The other flank is not in fantastic shape, guys. Again, I'm not really jazzed about pushing onto the cap at this moment, but the good news is that if you look down there in the southwest, we don't quite have a collapse. I'm a little bit worried about it, but all three of our KV-2s are still alive. The M6 is alive. We have a Breton Panther doing some backup. We own the rest of the map more or less. I still have the speed to get back if I need to. So that calculus is all going through my small P-brain at the moment. And it is unfortunate that they killed the 3002M. He probably should have just gone at those guys and rammed them. And then I get completely stopped. These are not very heavy vehicles, so they do get stopped by buildings. They get slowed down a lot by walls and almost stopped by buildings. And now we've got to make a decision. This is what I was talking about earlier on whether we apply some cap pressure or not. Now take a look at the mini map. And I'm not saying this is the perfect example, but to be quite honest, there's a lot of argument to be made to either go back and around or up into the middle and help Cromwell and Hellcat apply pressure up there. But remember, I'm down here in this super soft medium tank, and I do have some help. Got a Hellcat right there. I do have a Cromwell that's looking to push back in. But there's so many enemy tanks to include 2 artillery. I'm really expecting something is going to come back here. But that's why the potential for a little bit of cap pressure, and cap pressure could be on cap or putting pressure on their cap, not even necessarily being on the cap, but moving towards it to draw some of their tanks back. And as long as you've got some allies, that's pretty important. Now, Elf Magi too, I forget, yeah, that guy's actually pretty good, I think, as I recall. I've seen him multiple times in game. So I don't want to push around. What I don't know is how many dudes are there, but guess what? Now we got a Jackson, and we've got the Elf Magi 2 Cromwell, and I wish at that point I'd have pushed in a little bit faster, but he gets eaten up, and now I'm just going to keep on pushing in here, and unfortunately Cromwell dies. I see the Hellcat. I just about left, and then I see the Hellcat and the Crusader coming back, or pushing with me, so I'll stick here. That's the whole traverse. It is painful. If you get overextended in this thing, getting turned around and getting out of there is a major pain in the rear. I'm also looking for these guys. Boom. I think I'm actually hidden. Yeah, I'm hidden by the bush that's in between us. That's hilarious. He has no idea where I am. I will get lit by the Jackson here pretty quickly. All right, we are getting torn up by this Jackson. He's in a nice hold down position. He can shoot and scoot back. We got 2 single shots and me a 3 shot to this guy. We got to get rid of this guy. I think he actually kills one of us before I really realize I need to get going. I bounce, that sucks, and now I know I've got to go. I just got to get around him. I can't let him continue to sit there. Unfortunately, he does turn his hole in his turret. I don't quite get around the corner, and I get lit on bloody fire. Terrible. Put another shot into him, try to get away. All right. That really sucks. I get hit by the artillery. Actually, I think he just missed me. I got lucky. That must have been 304 without the splash, or the splash wasn't close enough. Shoot that dude again. And we're trying to get in here. Already misses again. Bit lucky. Slow turret. On the reload, we get him dead. Was it the greatest tactical maneuver of all time? Not necessarily. Did it pull a few guys back who might have helped win the other flank? Possibly. Possibly. That's why I said earlier that I'm not a huge fan of this move. It can be effective. You will notice that the Jackson actually had 2,000 something damage, so I think he tore up the guys down in the heavy area and then came back. I believe he came back from over there because he did a bunch of damage. He actually also got some hit points out the Cromwell and the Hellcat, but he certainly hit some other tanks on the other corner over there on the other flank. And good news for us, the KV-2s are holding on. And now we have applied that cap pressure. I'm just going to jump on cap. Artie takes another stab at me. Now I was thinking about just bailing out of here, right? I'm a single shot, 146 hit points left. But I see the Excalibur doing a really nice move right here. This is hugely important. Instead of just jumping on cap, he's actually going to cut these guys off. Because look, they've got plenty of fast tanks. Now I'm going to start capping, and I'm sort of curious where the artillery might take a stab. They still have a 304. He will shoot into the cap right here. Boom. So he's hitting the corner. I don't want to knock that down, but I did. That was dumb. Remember, the artillery has a top-down view. So I'm going to try to get into these bushes for a couple reasons. Trying not to hit things. Even little fences, if the guys are paying attention. These things are such a pain to maneuver. Trying to get in this bush. Why am I doing that? Because I figure someone's going to come from this direction. If I'm in the bush, I might get first shot opportunity. And if they come around this corner, I'm in the bush and they won't automatically see me, ideally. I can see that they're on the way, though. We've just applied cap pressure. So this is kind of what you're looking for. The Excalibur, good job to him. That is Hugo_X. Fantastic, man. He goes to a cutoff position where he can dominate people who are attempting to push. At the very least, he can take some hit points. The Excalibur has a really nice rate of fire, and he will shred these guys. And maybe I don't even have to worry about them pushing. That leaves the Cromwell and the Skoda somewhere out there to deal with, plus the artillery taking its stabs. I was obviously taking a chance with the Artie, because the Artie, if I was the Artie, I probably would have dropped one into this bush. And I don't know if he actually tries it. He might. No, he's continuing to shoot the same place. Then I see the Cromwell. The bush worked out for me. Nice. And I get the shot on him. I was worried I'd get spotted, but I didn't. I knocked some more fences down. Boom. I think either he saw the fence go down or the Cromwell clicked on that position right there. Or potentially Artie just saw the guy die and probably figured I was there, especially since I didn't get spotted. So let's just move around a little bit. At this point, he's just going to have to get super lucky. The Excalibur pushes in. Now, I could have pushed with them and found the Skoda T25, closed this thing out, but I was trying to get Invader now. That's right. I wanted the badge. Deal with it. Probably not the smartest plan to be next to the Cromwell. That would be another place I might have guessed with the artillery. But good news, the artillery is dead. Thank you, Mr. Excalibur. They are going to ask for no cap, which is something I also do. But I say denied. Your request for no cap is denied. You can submit your request later for further denial. Anyway, 1,311 damage. We got 3 kills out of that thing. And a discussion about cap pressure, some of the pros and cons, what it kind of looks like in terms of this battle. I find generally the decision is usually close to a 50-50. Maybe 60-40. Maybe 60-40. Sometimes it's even worse than that. Maybe it's 30-70 in your favor. Cap pressure tends to be, in my opinion, a contingency plan, generally, and not the best plan at best, to be quite honest. But it ended up working out for us, largely because the Excalibur did a solid move by pushing down there and cutting those guys off. If he'd have sat on cap with me and they came around the corner and lit me, now we got the 304 to contend with. So all they got to do is keep lighting us. 304 is bombing us, and then they get close enough to start hitting both of us, and I don't have many hit points. So it was just a fantastic move on his part. Nicely done. He ends up with 4 kills out of the thing as well. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think down below. What is your plan in this situation? Do you like cap pressure? Is it something you think is more important than I do? I'm not saying it's unimportant. I just find moving to the other flank to help the rest of your tanks and mop up the rest of the enemy, vice letting them know that you're on the cap, is in general the better move. All right, fellas, we'll see you later.